Okay, welcome to another episode of the Day After podcast.
What is up, guys? We are here at season 45. And, let's just talk about we've been doing this channel for now. This is going into our fourth year, or like technically like fifth year in the sense of like, we just haven't hit the 5-year milestone yet. But yeah, that's going to be next. But yeah, so thanks again, Joe. You started an amazing journey out here. And yeah,
Hey,
and one
thanks for
last
being part of the ride.
of course, getting to talk about Survivor and, you helped me get even deeper into the fandom and stuff. And, giving me something, I mean, especially during the pandemic, in
Mhm.
2020 with all our brand steals and stuff, it, was something to do that was fun and something where, um, granted, sometimes our schedules varied, but it was something where we definitely got to, I think it helped us out a lot during that time.
Yeah, definitely. It was like reassuring almost every week being able to kind of be like, okay, we got a fun brand deal coming up. It
Yeah.
was it is always a fun like. I'm always looking forward to this. So yeah.
Yeah. And then, one more little announcement I want to make to the channel. It is Joe's birthday in the time of recording, so happy
Yeah.
birthday, man.
Thank
Um,
you.
yes. You don't have to tell your age. I'm guessing 18.
Yeah, 18. That's right. That's if you want to cast me in something, 18.
18 TPY.
Yeah,
That's just my age. Well, I don't know. I can play college, but like, you know,
yeah.
my fellow babyface.
Exactly. But yeah, I'm glad to be able to be talking about Survivor on my birthday. One of my favorite things with one of my favorite people. So yeah,
Oh,
it's great.
yep. And boy, do we have a lot to talk about on season 45, this premiere, especially in the latter half, pun semi-intended.
Yeah.
But man, like this one was like, I don't know if you saw on your like feeds or whatever, wherever you go, where you see Survivor talks and whatnot, but mine went nuts.
Yeah,
Like it was like, what the hell happened with the Lulu tribe? They were
yeah.
like, there were people like angry. It was like, oh, whoever did casting had to be fired, something
Yeah.
they've
I
been
will say, yeah,
vicious.
I will say it's very unfair, I feel, for this tribe. Like the players have even said that it seems unfair, like how they balance everything. So
Well, the thing is, it's like, we'll start from the beginning.
yeah,
So, before that, like obviously what we're going to talk about, from the very first thing, usually, yeah, everyone had their intros and their little introduction and stuff, and that gives you a good little sense of like everyone's thing. But Emily just came out hot, ready.
right away.
The funny thing is, I think Survivor has listened, and we will no longer use the Matt theory because, like, I don't think
Yeah,
because there was only like three people.
yeah.
Well,
There was
three
only
if you
yeah. If
three
you
if you
count
count
Emily,
Emily.
yeah. If you count Emily like chiming in, yeah. But really, it's Brandon and Bruce were the ones that were specifically talked to Jeff Probst like he's trying to bring them in. But I mean, maybe you can count Emily in this math theory. Maybe there's a chance Emily
No,
is the one.
but like, good God, like, first off, she just went first off, like,
Yeah,
the Matt part or like the introduction, it's like a happy time,
yeah,
it's like something where we're all excited because we're going into this.
yeah,
She is like the first one in history to be like, oh well, just start shit right off the bat. And it's not
yeah,
even like, obviously when we've had returnee seasons, everyone's still psyched to be back and what, and there may be rivalries, but it's like, oh, we're gonna get you. No, she just straight up was like, oh no, he has an advantage and he's downplaying it. And it's like, first off, you're doing it against Bruce, who was like, everyone was pretty hyped that he was coming back and stuff, and everyone was like,
yeah.
so right off the bat, you pissed off like 17 people.
Yeah, I will say, even though, yeah, not a great way to go about it, I am so thrilled for the entertainment factor that Emily gave us this episode. We need villains. Like the fact is she is a villain. It is good that right now you don't like her. Like
I know.
that is a positive for the show. So I am actually glad. Like I want her to have some longevity just for the sake of there's going to be a constant foil that a lot of people are going to want to see.
My
You
thing is she's not a good villain
know, what do you mean?
in the sense of like, one, I mean, I'm gonna say, like she was like, oh, I'm gonna play like Chaos Cass. Chaos Cass was, cool, calm, collective, and like, strategic with the shit she stirred. Emily is like, yeah, I'm gonna cause shit. Oh no, that actually makes people mad at me. They might vote me off. Oh well, I'm still gonna be that way.
Yeah. Well, interestingly, I don't know if you saw Hannah's exit interview, but apparently she liked Emily a lot, and apparently a lot of the tribe actually like Emily's personality. Like they actually like it's endearing to them. The fact that she kind of just says like what people are afraid of saying, basically.
I don't know. It's like she just, oh God. Um,
Yeah, well, and I'll be honest too. I think maybe 70% of the things she was saying, to a degree, I agreed with. Like when everyone was talking about aliens, and the pyramids, like I
yeah,
actually 100% was on Emily's side here. I was like, this is crazy talk. And in that moment, she didn't have like an outburst like you guys are stupid. She
yeah.
did do the kind of like, wow, I never thought of
Well, be
that.
fair, it's like basically you have 24 hours a day with these people and stuff. You know, uh, After a while, you get to know everyone's story and then you think of random shit to talk about.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like, good gosh, like this one, like, good gosh.
Yeah,
But I think one thing is like straight off the bat, she's like starting shit,
uh-huh.
like on the mat with
Yeah,
people.
yeah, yeah. I've been kind of thinking about some of these tribes if they were like to just look at like a full season as itself, and I just keep looking at this Lulu tribe and being this tribe would be on Gabon. Like I feel like there's so much Gaboniness happening on this tribe, and it's interesting
This
because
tribe feels like it belongs on Total Drama, but
yeah,
like in a sense of like it seems like a parody of a shitty tribe.
yeah,
You have two people, well, three people trying to hold it all together, and then you have the wacky characters
yeah,
that are kind of like, I mean, like, well, the thing is, Hannah wasn't bad until she just wanted to just give up,
yeah.
basically.
Yeah. Well, and she wanted to give up very quickly. She said in the confessional after the mutiny, the marooning, that basically, oh, I saw Brandon have a panic attack. Maybe it's easier on the couch. Maybe you don't want to be doing this. Like she was already, I think, out of the game super early on. That it's yeah. I mean, you just can't drag someone who is starting at that mindset.
Yeah. I mean, and I feel like a lot of this episode, because like, it just focused so much on that's what everyone's talking about right now,
Oh yeah,
is the Lulu tribe. Because
yeah,
and I feel like Hannah seemed cool going in, and then like
yeah,
I was looking at her like tattoos and stuff. I'm like, man, these are actually really cool. Like I was starting to like, vibe with
yeah,
her. Like we all get nervous at first when it comes to this, and especially, you know, I think another big factor that happened was the sweat and savvy challenge as well. Because like, um, in the we're getting kind of jumping over a little bit, but like, I think that played a huge factor into, morale and also like comfort of living, because if you don't have
yeah,
machete, you can't build an adequate shelter. And if you don't have a pot, I mean, granted, you still have to catch the food, stuff like that, but like you're still limiting yourself so much when it comes to that. No flint,
yeah,
so tougher to make fire. So you're already going out there with a lot. You're already one discouraged from losing the first challenge, especially in a way where it was like, oh, it made you seem weaker than the other tribes, and also what happened to Brandon.
Yeah.
So morale is already down, and then to be like, oh, so you don't have any of your equipment either, brings it down even more. And
Yeah.
it's like, man, and that was kind of my takeaway from this tribe. It's like they have to build up morale because right now it's probably the lowest that any tribe has ever like
Yeah.
started off with.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. It's been a very tough first 3 days for Lulu. And then you look at the other two tribes, and for the most part, they're, doing pretty good. There's a little bit of like plotting on the blue tribe, but like the red
yeah,
tribe is super like, pretty chill with a lot of each other. They catch Sifu, look for idols, but I don't think it doesn't seem like that's a huge issue right now. Like maybe it'll
yeah.
play a factor, but like for the most part, both tribes seem like, they're pretty well off. They are both pretty physical too. Like it's really hard to imagine uh them losing to Lulu right now.
They both seem very balanced.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, like, and the thing is, it's like, I think it's kind of sad because, like, going in, I was like, I think we were both like looking at Brandon and was like, especially because of how much like coverage he was getting
Yeah.
in the beginning, and like, the story about his, grandfather robbing a bank, things like that. It was like, oh,
Which isn't
like,
even in the episodes.
no. I think because like I don't even want to say inadequate, but like, just how like I don't know what was going on. Like maybe he was panicking on the ladder and then like that just got in his head and then just like straight up low self-esteem mode.
Yeah. Yeah, he
Um
he is definitely rattled off of that marooning. Like I think that whole thing was just kind of damning his game. Like I will say, I do feel somewhat bad for Brandon. He is currently living my nightmare. Like this is how I imagine like if I went on to Survivor and just had like a terrible beginning. Like this is how I imagine it, and he is going through it 100% right now. So I'm just like, oh man, this is this is rough to watch for me.
I know it's like I casted this team for Brand Steel and this is the outside look in. I'm like, oh fuck. So this is what it feels this is what it looks like.
Yeah.
But no, like, and I think one of the things is, and I mean, Brandon, just like based on his stuff, I know he was like, I think it's a nerd stereotype, but it's based in some merit. It's one of those stereotypes where it's based in merit. Like sometimes we have low self-esteem, or sometimes we, get down on ourselves pretty hard.
Mhm.
Just based on like, being, depending on the type of nerd and depending on like your upbringing and things like that, kind of like an outsider in some respects. And so like, the panic attacks, the things like that, and then also like, it's a very emotional thing where he got excited and like, teary-eyed that he was living his dream, and then oh man,
Yeah.
for things to go so bad the first challenge, you know, it, it's tough to like, get that mental composure to break through that, but we'll see. I
Yeah.
mean, this is only the first episode.
Yeah, yeah. He can always, he could be having a David Wright story arc this season. We don't know yet. Start
Yeah.
start start on the bottom. Seems like he can't do anything. Remember even Chris Doherty
Yeah.
in the first episode of Vanuatu. Terrible opening challenge with him in the first immunity. Like almost as bad as like this Brandon challenge or the marooning. Like it's as bad.
Yeah. I
And
mean, and I always keep that in mind too. Like,
yeah.
because we've had those underdogs in the past. I will say, and I talked about this preseason as well with Brando. We talked about.
Mhm.
So we were just one letter off of like who would be going through this. But like it was something where in a David Wright game where, oh, you're in a tribe of 10 and there might be some bigger fish to fry. Out here, there's no where to
Yeah,
hide. Brandon was most likely going to be eliminated. In fact,
yeah.
I don't know if there's any truth to this because I haven't listened to the day after podcast, or I haven't on Jeff's podcast.
Uh,
Um, but apparently, is this true? There was like a secret, like
yeah,
basically the Kendra thing was totally deleted.
yeah. The secret twist that was supposed to that happened was Kendra spent the whole time at Lulu's camp. She got to talk to them. She got to strategize with them even. Um, and ends up casting a secret vote, which apparently, according to Hannah, was against Brandon.
Yeah,
So the move was very likely going to be Brandon as the first boot here. But because we didn't get an actual vote, they cut all that stuff because Kendra's
it, it
vote doesn't matter now.
it also it's one of those things where I guess in the grand scheme of things, it didn't matter. Like in the grand scheme of things, it didn't like fit the narrative, and then it would also make it kind of look bad on production standpoint because it's like, oh, we had the twist, and then it didn't pay off.
Yeah,
Or I don't know if this is going to be a recurring thing because like I think it would be cool for it to actually like try again happen, or if that's just going to be like a new meta, new part of the meta for this season.
uh-huh.
But you know, and when I first heard that, I was like baffled because I'm like, how do you just edit all that out? But I mean, it makes sense because like you had. I'll be honest. I thought Hannah and Brandon were going to quit because like when they were talking with each other,
Yeah.
like Brandon was saying he was in pain, he doesn't want to do this anymore, and then Hannah's like, no, 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 but this is your dream, and I can't do this anymore. I just want food, and I'm like, oh gosh, this
Yeah.
is
Yeah, it was not fun hearing like also day one talks about how just they almost didn't want to be here. I mean, Brand had a little more kind of like, I still love this and everything, but just
yeah.
kind of hearing them talk of, where they're still only really like a few hours into the actual part of the game. Uh Definitely is a little upsetting and annoying, and I can see why a lot of fans are not thrilled with these two, especially Hannah, as she's the one to, I think,
Yeah.
kind of bite the bullet.
Well, I mean, like, because I think there's definitely a big thing about quitting. And, like,
Yeah,
you know, and I've been seeing it on the feed, and I have some, like, I do agree in the sense of, like, oh, well, she did take someone's spot. And for someone to quit, especially like if I applied and I was, you know, like obviously she and I, because of like how casting works, we're not like in the same pool because
yeah,
like, she or like her gender identity is female, mine is male. So like I'm not taking her spot or she didn't take my spot or anything like that. But I can understand like so many people being out there, even the alternates that go out there and then being
yeah,
like, well, I didn't get a chance to play like because someone quit when she wasn't the target.
yeah.
I know it's also a thing of like because she responded on X, Twitter for
Yeah.
the people that don't know. She responded on X being like, "Hey, I don't even have social media, and people have been messaging me and being like, how dare you quit?" Things like that. And then she's like, "Listen, there were like 5 people that really, really wanted to be there, and I wasn't really vibing with the game. So I just took one for the team, basically." And
Yeah,
I understand that. I think it's different because we're fans, and so like for us
yeah,
to like quit, especially like when you're not even the one that's been having the worst of it on the tribe,
yeah,
it's like baffling to
yeah.
even think about.
Yeah, honestly, like if this tribe plays out, I think she probably gets brought with Caleb and Sabaya. Like I think like honestly, I think that she would probably just be brought along with them. So her
Yeah.
longevity was probably around. So
I don't know.
um
Like, that was the crazy part.
yeah.
I will say it was kind of funny how she's like, oh, if you're unhinged enough to get mad at someone and hate message them and stuff, you wouldn't even pass the psych test for it. Which I like that little clap back because I was like, You know,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah,
I,
I'm just mad about this whole thing because Hannah was on my team and Brandon was on my team, and I just feel like it's really
welcome
rough.
to my
And
world.
I have Emily on my team. I have such buyer's remorse now with this with my group. This is
I mean,
the first time I ever actually kind of regret like a lot of my choices.
that's the tough thing going into it. Like,
Yeah,
it's preseason. You don't really know who,
yeah,
how they're actually going to play, because I don't want to say talk is cheap, but like, we all have a bunch of plans before we play a game. Yeah, any
mhm,
type of game, really. We may have a strategy, we may have this, but the thing is, other people have their own strategies. You can't plan for everything. And then also, like, especially when you're playing Survivor, where, you know, in the beginning stages, it's like, well, who are your teammates going to be? How well are they going to perform in these challenges, et cetera, et cetera? There's only so much you can like prepare for. And then,
yeah,
little incidences here and there, affect morale, affect, the twists that may come and all that. Or, sometimes like last season with Bruce, freak accidents where it's like,
yeah.
things like that. And then it just, you know, all you can do is like do your best. I think the thing is for me, and this is kind of what I did, I just chose my favorites.
Uh,
And so that way, win or lose, it's funny. There's a little speck of dust or like on my phone right now, and it's right underneath your eye, and it makes it look like you're crying.
yeah, I'm shedding a tear right now for
Yeah. But like, if you choose your favorites, at least you can, I feel it's better that way. That's why obviously I chose J Maya as number one.
yeah,
But like I will say for those of you who didn't watch our like draft and everything, so he chose half, I chose half. I will say, I'd say out of everyone you have, Drew, you still have Drew, and I think
yeah.
Drew, he got a lot of good coverage in this
Yeah,
episode.
yeah, he's way. But the thing is, I think he's going to be like the storyteller of the season. I think he is going to be that like Jonathan Penner. Like I think he's going to. I think he's going to have a deep run actually, which is totally not what I thought preseason. I did kind of think he has that like second or third boot energy coming from him, but I actually think now
Yeah.
he's going to be in it for a good at least halfway through the merge. Is what I would guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
Well,
he's yeah.
at this rate with Lulu,
Yeah,
and they even said it, I'm not just busting their chops, the Lulu losers, as
yeah,
they dubbed themselves. Um, I think, I mean, we were talking about this, it's like I think they're guaranteed like two more before the merge or
yeah,
mergatory or like even a tribe swap.
yeah. I mean, they need like for Survivor production to suddenly be like, we need a bunch of tribe swaps in order for this group to have any chance of getting more than like three people into the merge.
There's nothing wrong with it. It's just like I feel like this time I just feel sad because I'm like, you just see,
Yeah,
because I feel bad for Sabia and like Caleb, because like, they're giving it their all, but they just feel like, if you've ever watched a movie and it's like a cheesy B movie, not even that, but like the actors are giving them all trying to save this thing, but
yeah,
it's just not working, and then it's like, gosh. Um,
yeah,
it's just like I feel so bad, especially for Sabia, because I think she has a great story. I've liked her performances within the first couple like challenges and everything.
mhm.
I think she's a strong competitor. It's just that
I
she's on
yeah.
this tribe, and
Yeah, I think this tribe is doomed everyone on it, honestly. Like even if, say, Caleb and Sabia make it to the ends, or well, not the end, but like to the merge.
yeah.
That's in my opinion their end. I just can't really see them getting too much more wiggle room after that. Like maybe they don't go right away, but like it is. I just think that they have just kind of been screwed here.
Well, I feel like and we've seen we've seen a Matt Singh before. We've
Yeah.
seen the
The
UA tribe,
yeah, the Tika 3.
the Tika 3.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about, I'm more so talking about how, if one tribe keeps going,
Yeah.
and let's say there are some tribes that haven't gone to tribal council, um, the tea that has been there starts to brew and it gets over. Well, I don't know if you can over brew tea. I'm not a tea person. I actually brew tea for Starbucks. Maybe that's why I don't work there anymore. Uh, but like, it's something where all these like feelings have kind of festered. And so like it's like, okay, now can we finally get rid of person A, because we haven't had any opportunity to even do it or play that portion of the game. Like things like that.
Uh,
So that could be the advantage, but the thing is, you have to get there in order to have that like chance.
yeah.
And I know you messaged me and was like, "Oh, do you think?" Or it was like messaged me and it's like, I don't know if Sean like flips on Sabia and Caleb, that tribe is just completely doomed.
Yeah.
And then when I said that, I was like, "That's way too stupid." And I'm like,
Oh, have you
I
seen
just
this tribe?
it's that one it's that one monkey puppet that just is like looking over wide-eyed and then looks away, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I just felt that in my head as soon as I thought had that thought. I'm like, because they were even,
Yeah.
I don't think they were entertaining the idea of it in the beginning,
Yeah.
but like, when they're like, oh, well, they are a power duo and stuff like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, thinking a few steps ahead is always great, but you have to make it there.
Yeah, yeah, it and this is the thing. I think whatever way is going to be really tough for them, because especially in Sean, like looking at it from Sean's perspective here, because um, obviously the safe move is just to take out Brandon in this next boot, or Emily, whichever one. Honestly, Caleb or Sabia wants. And then, but the thing is that if you get to the final three and this tribe still sucks and loses a challenge, you're insta cuss. Like
But I
there's
mean,
and you're also going to be the person that gets thrown under the bus. Say you make a merge with them, like they would be willing to throw you to the side and say, "This is our contribution to getting rid of someone, so that way we can make them further." So
true.
it's really tough for Sean in that position. But the thing is, you make a move against Caleb and Sevilla, you're guaranteed to just have everyone go home pre-merge. Like
Yeah.
it is not a good position for anyone in this game
Well, I
besides.
feel like also with Sean, and they even talked about it too. It's like, um, because they were like talking about Emily and stuff, and it was like literally Flippin is her last name. So the
Yeah.
fact that she might flip over to the other side, it's like, I don't know if you ever saw the Bumblebee movie, but what John Cena was like, how can you trust these guys? Their name is literally Decepticon. Deceit is in their name. Um, and I feel like,
Yeah.
and she's given off that like vibe of like not being loyal to the end. Like, she literally
Yeah.
threw like, like it was, end of school day of elementary school, like pretty much she drove all the school buses over Bruce, in the
Yeah.
beginning, didn't even let go, but like kept saying things about it. She
Yeah.
clearly doesn't give a shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel like she would easily flip over if it gives her
Yeah.
even like one or two placements higher.
Yeah. I will say she is one of the few people in this episode to have a winner quote.
Which is if you're not first, you're last, basically.
Yeah, basically, yeah, she'd rather be voted out first if she's not winning the game. So take that with a grain of salt, obviously, as all winner quotes should be taken, because we don't know if that's just if that's just a good character moment that they've selected, or if that actually could have story ramifications. Um, but yeah, I don't know how the heck she could ever get to the end, let alone then convince people to win. So
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, like, thing is, we're basing it off of one episode. We don't know how
yeah,
the other tribes operate either.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, we've got the semblance of like on the Blue Tribe, Katura kind of like getting all the ladies together. I
yeah,
feel like Katura, she's already finding the target with Jake, kind of like pulling a Cody from 43 and being like, oh, lawyer,
yeah,
let's go after that, even though she's like saying that like, even though she's a lawyer herself and keeping it hidden and whatnot, and then like, playing dumb and then everything, putting all the attention on Jake. Um,
yeah. Yeah, I really like the female alliance that we got over here
oh
with
yeah,
Katora,
the
Kelly, and
September
Kendra.
babies.
Yeah, the September babies. I'm a September baby. We're
Yeah.
recording this in September. I'm a Libra. So I, honestly, I'm kind of rooting for Kendra, even though I think that she's probably just going to be a goat if she gets brought by these two.
I don't know. I feel like Kendra was always kind of like a wild card going in.
Yeah,
She is giving, and she even said this in her like little interview thing, Carolyn vibes, which I'm
yeah,
like, well, the survivor specialist kind of put it best. Like, it's like it's okay if like that's what you align with, but just keep in mind, well, she can't keep in mind because they were filming during the end of it. But it's like if you model yourself over someone who wasn't really winning, it's not a good
yeah,
idea. I would say it
yeah.
has more merit than Emily, basing her game off of Chaos Cast.
Yes, yeah.
But
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. It's weird with Carolyn because I do think that she deserved votes and potentially could have won the game, but I think that uh people just had the immediate perception of it. And I think that with Carolyn playing the game and people being able to see it, I think that some of that might have been kind of alleviated off of that kind of type. And now people can actually like look at someone who is super crazy in this like emotion or seems like they have an emotional game that they're
yeah,
playing. But actually, you can try to now decipher like what's the actual strategic elements that are being made into this.
yeah. And I mean like this alliance between um, you know, Kelly, Katura, and Kendra, all three of them together. I feel like, the September babies will probably, I think it's already strong. Uh, One thing we have to talk about is I love how they were hyping up Bruce so much, and then it's like, okay, well, Bruce is kind of getting on their nerves. And we even see
Mhm.
that in the preview. I'm like, no,
Yeah, yeah.
no.
Bruce was honestly way more of a character than I thought. I thought he would be a little more kind of like just the older dad kind of like that's all he's kind of doing. But like when he comes back and is talking about Emily is like going bitch. Like he's like super big. I started kind of almost going like, man, I wish that he was also part of that Tegan tribe to really, because
Yeah,
he honestly like seeing more. I definitely think he would have been siding with say Carolyn, Jam Jam and Carson. Like I think
yeah.
I think he would have been totally on with those personalities.
Yeah, I mean, like, and he kind of described the fun uncle. That's
Yeah.
what he called. And I feel like, I'm someone who loves like a good dad joke, things like that. But he went from fun uncle and then also kind of like trying to tell people what to do. And I know sometimes that can read the wrong way, even if it's made with good intentions and whatnot.
Mhm.
Um, And I mean, I don't know, it's tricky. I did feel it was kind of like a huge, like little reversal. Basically, I mean, yes, you can't necessarily make something out of nothing. There has to be like something there for the editors to kind of play with. Case in
Mhm.
point, like Emily, like, we wouldn't be thinking she was so like I wouldn't say horrendous, but like such a teaser, someone who's always like I mean, most people on the internet just straight up hate Emily. But I mean,
Yeah.
she's also feeling the fire in the sense of like the confessional she's giving. Granted, she'd
Yeah.
be doing that for more screen time. What's her profession again?
I don't have that in front of me. I can't remember. I could probably find it real quick.
But there's one of those things where sometimes based on your profession, you can have more of a filter or you can have less of a filter and not have to worry about social repercussions. I
Yeah,
mean, uh,
she's an investment analyst, so
yeah, so no one's
she's
gonna.
only dealing with numbers. So if you're not bringing just so that's why she feels like she can be pretty blunt and abrasive. Is that when you're dealing with just numbers, like these are just facts. Like
Yeah, exactly.
if you don't like the facts, well, that sucks because then they're the facts.
Exactly. Numbers don't lie.
Yeah,
But like, no, I feel like she can definitely be that way because like I know like sometimes and there's the perception of the villain because like not everyone goes out there, you know, I've even also wondered that too because I'm a because I'm on Darman. 19 million subs. I'm not trying to like brag or anything, but in the sense of like there are a lot of kids who watch that. And it's kind of like if you remember way back in, season 7, you know, Boy Scout troop leader and all that going into it, sometimes you're held to a higher like standard and stuff. And then it's kind of like when it comes to morals and stuff like that. And then like sometimes it's like, oh, but if I don't, if I'm wearing this and stuff like that, and that's not really working out, or like sometimes it's like it's tougher to make the like super villainy moves or like the super tough decisions where it makes you look bad because you're worried about the perception of yourself afterwards and whatnot. I mean, hell, even Jerry was like, yeah, they edit villains a lot differently these days because like, back then villains would get like so much shit, like hate and whatnot. Like Jerry
yeah,
left, All Stars for those who didn't know. Like she left like it was either the reunion or the other reunion show. Cause like, she was just getting so much backlash. She's like, screw this.
yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah. It's very clear that they're trying to not have the hate. But the thing is like I think that's just been a missing element of Survivor in this new era, especially. Is that they're trying to make everyone likable. Like everyone needs to be someone you're rooting for. And like the fact is in a good story, you need to have people
antagonists.
who you're not wanting to win, who you want to see go up against the eventual winner, or people who you do want to have as your big heroes of the season. Like
Yeah.
you need to have a little bit of that balance. There's a reason why the villains tribe in Heroes vs Villains is the best tribe like that has ever existed on Survivor, and it's because villains bring a lot of entertainment to the screen. Like,
And they're willing to do what it takes.
yeah, yeah, so like I understand if anyone doesn't like Emily, but remember that I do think it is still a good thing for the show that we're getting a character like Emily who is very much like just trying to mix up the pot, who is just trying to
Yeah.
do whatever she wants and isn't like, well, someone might not like this, so I'm going to keep it to myself. Like,
No. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. This season is going to be entertaining. I mean, like,
yeah,
I think like the big takeaway after this is like, what is going to become of Lulu? Because right now it looks bad. It could be like maybe
yeah,
a rough start, but morale is hella low on that tribe. I
yeah.
mean, like, what can you do?
Yeah, I mean, red or blue tribe has to like totally fumble immunities in order for Lulu to get a second place and not go to tribal, because it just looks so hard for them to have any chance. Especially now each tribe gets to sit out their weakest member against Lulu because you know how that works. So
Yeah. And also, like,
yeah,
it's because Lulu, because they still don't have Flint. Like, I believe they still got their pot and machete now,
yeah,
but also now they're doing it. They're basically building their shelter with one less member. They still don't have like well, I wouldn't say guaranteed source of fire because you actually have to use the Flint well in order for it to work.
mhm,
But like, they don't have that ease of fire. Morale is down. They're now spending time building their shelter with less people than even the Bulu tribe. So it's just like there's a lot of things that are going against Lulu right now.
yeah, yeah. It's definitely a bit rough. What I will say about the season so far, I think there's a lot more bigger characters than I was anticipating. Like
Yeah.
Sifu, I was not expecting him to be as crazy as he is. Like I thought he was just going to be the big muscle guy who, is just here for challenges. But he was giving me honestly, Coach Wade
Wow.
vibes. Oh,
Coach, wait.
yeah. I was thinking Coach.
Well, I mean, like they pointed out because he tried to make a spy shack and
Yeah,
it
yeah.
wasn't as,
Yeah. That was that scene, but like his introduction of him
yeah,
doing the Tai Chi on the boat, and and he has like, he's also in a band, like he has
yeah,
all these other kind of things. He was giving me like that
Coach
kind
Wade.
of,
Yeah.
yeah. He was very much a Coach Wade type, and I don't think in our this new era we have had someone come in like Seafier yet, like where it is very much like he's this bigger kind of personality that um is almost charactery in a way, but is just so just fun.
Yeah. And his little idol hunt and stuff was cool to watch. And since we're on that topic, we'll go back to Austin. We'll talk about Austin a little bit because he did find the Beware advantage.
Yeah.
Um, ever since like now all the heat's on Sifu, so like everyone's focusing there. Good thing about Illusion, or
Yeah.
that's the great thing. It's like you have the distraction. They're watching the one hand, but they're not seeing the other.
Yeah.
Um, Austin finding the Beware, and then apparently there's like a bunch of steps to it, or at least they only talked about one. I'm guessing like there's three things he has to do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be a little hunt for the idol, I'm assuming. That's
Yeah.
what we're getting here. Which makes me wonder, is the idol already hidden somewhere that is different than this? Like, is this just a Beware advantage to get the clue to get it?
Yeah.
Because it's very possible that it is somewhere that the production thinks no one's going to be able to find this. But maybe someone has that Russell Hantz like energy and does find it. So
I mean, you never know. People
yeah,
sometimes stumble upon things without like the thing is the more you look, you never know what you're gonna find.
yeah,
Um and sometimes, especially like in modern, yeah, there's always like the thing under rocks or right in between the breaks of a tree, things like that. But like, you never know what production might do to like mix things up. Like with the first task that Austin has to do, where it's like he has to use the sheet of paper to find a clue with the little other half of the letters that are on the flag, which I think was interesting because it was like, oh, okay,
uh,
it's definitely some sort of code. And J Maya found that, or it was like, huh, this doesn't look like any language I've seen. But it's like, it was more of a clever thing. It was like, oh, okay, I see what they were doing. Now that you have like one of the pieces to the puzzle, where it's like,
yeah,
oh, so it's just half the letters and stuff. And I'm pretty sure once you know that, maybe you can look at the flag and then also kind of like be like, huh, what other secret messages are on there?
yeah, yeah, exactly. So I'm curious to see how that goes for Austin. I Man, the second that this was revealed, my only thought I could think of was how the heck is anyone on Lulu going to be able to like I feel like if they find this, it is going to just not work. Like they're going to just go in front of everyone and be like, I got something, here it is. Like I think there's going to be no secretive elements if Lulu finds it.
And that's interesting. I feel like Sean is I don't know, I would say maybe Sean might go for it. I don't think, thing is, it's like, we just have like I don't know, I think we're giving Lulu a lot of shit. Granted, there's some merit to it because of
Yeah.
how badly they performed in the first episode, but
Most premiere episodes is about showing off like the casts.
yeah,
This did feel very much like they were showing off the destruction of Lulu. Like
yeah.
the other tribes got little like tidbits, but like everything seems like it just kept going back to Lulu. As like I just feel like when they put this tribe together, they wanted another Tika 3. They wanted to have these big characters win out in their tribe and make it further into the game, and somehow like I think they just loved how it worked out in 44 and thought they could try to do something similar here, and it just did not work.
That's a good theory. That could be it. Or I don't know, maybe they were like, because like on paper, like it didn't seem like as great as the other tribes, but it was like, like I think when we were talking about it too, we were talking about the power struggles and stuff and why it would probably dismantle itself, as opposed to like, them just doing so bad at like challenges, and then also a couple of their players not wanting to play the game anymore.
Yeah.
Like, and also that's another thing that not even Hannah herself kind of predicted. Like, obviously, no one goes out there wanting to like quit or anything, but it's one of those things where it's like, oh, okay. I think on paper this looked like an underdog tribe, and like, yeah, kind of like doing the Tika, 3 again could potentially be that. But however, I don't know. Like on paper, I was like, yeah, this one may be the weakest out of the bunch, but I don't think it's going to be a total decimation. I just think there was going to be a lot of drama.
Yeah.
Now that we see it, it's like, ooh,
Yeah.
honey.
Yeah. I mean, it just feels like they needed to switch like Sifu and Austin off of the Red Tribe and put one of them over onto the Lulu Tribe and replace Brandon and or Sean. Like, I just feel like something like that needed to happen because
Yeah,
I do think that they put like the two strongest guys on the tribe in the Red Tribe there. So it's very rough. If you were rooting for Lulu, which I think I drafted like 4 Lulu people on my
you
team.
did. You did.
So that's where I'm at, everyone.
It, it happens, bro. It happened to me almost not every single time. It happened to me quite a bit.
Yeah.
Um, if you've seen our reviews for the last couple seasons, sometimes I watch and I'm like, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. And then it just like self-destructs and I'm like, yep, that happened to me.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not happy that it's happened. I like a close one. Granted, you never know, man. Um, it's still just one episode, so it's tough to be
Yeah.
like, judge the entire season based on that. I
Yeah.
still think you have, even though they didn't get as much screen time, but that's also because they were showing so much of Lulu because all the crazy shit was happening there. I
Yeah.
still think you have a lot of good. I think Drew is your best pick, but you also have Kelly, who's in that alliance with, the September babies.
Yeah.
Um, I feel you have Caleb, and Caleb could do well. You have Jake. It really depends on how often they go to tribal. And then you have D, who a lot of people were thinking very, very highly of going into this. So I
Yeah.
feel like you still have some good you still have a lot of good people left. It's just that, they just
Yeah.
weren't showcased as much in this one because,
Yeah.
60-70% of this episode was based on, showing off Lulu and like basically the implosion of that tribe.
Yeah. I mean, if we did the draft now, I'd be drafting a lot of your people. I'll just say that. Like, honestly, I wish I had Sifu on my tribe now because I just think he's just so much fun. Like
Yeah,
he's probably for me at least top like 2 or 3 in terms of entertainment on the season. So
I do like seafood. I would say
yeah.
I, because I think we pretty much covered a lot of the stuff. And since it's the first one, now we see, them talking, interacting in the game and whatnot. Going over some of our favorites, or at least for the very first episode, what were some
Mhm.
like favorites that came out of it? You already said Sifu. How what other like contestants are really catching your eye where you're like, hell yeah, you can get behind them?
Yeah, so Sifu's a big one. Yeah, not necessarily. I like yet again, not necessarily. I think it's gonna win, but I do like Kendra. I was laughing at a lot of things Kendra was doing. Drew was a very surprise for me. Like I was happy with everything I was getting from him. He got the first confessional of the season.
Yeah,
So that is something to keep in mind. Um,
always.
yeah, I mean, I think Katora definitely is probably playing the best game right now.
Agreed. Like
Um,
she gets she gets not
MV,
VIP,
MVP.
MVP
Yeah,
of this episode, because one, she had this September Babies Alliance. She's putting target on Jake and whatnot, playing like, and I think it's always a sound strategy to lower your threat equity. And even if you seem less knowledgeable about things, like she was asking, and I'm pretty sure, like with clients she's had before, you just base off like, oh, what some of my clients would ask me about lawyering and whatnot. And, you just use those go-to ones because, like,
Mhm.
from experience what they would ask. Um, yeah, I would say that some of my favorites going in, or well, I mean, from this episode, I'm still waiting for more J Maya content. I mean, she
Yeah,
did get like the little like, oh, here's what tribe life is like and stuff like that in the beginning.
yeah.
But
She currently is tied for the least amount of confessionals.
I know, I
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
you follow your heart.
yeah,
Um, Austin, I still think Austin is cool, and so like it was kind
yeah.
of like what's the right word? It was kind of like reassured. It was like, yeah, Austin's cool. I knew that was gonna be the case. Still like Jake. I would say um like the people that I chose, like my opinion didn't really go down, or well, yeah, it did for like Brandon, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
like I would say like the people that I thought, oh, they could be cool, and then I realized I like them better than when I draft them or going in. Like I still think Sabia, like she just has to get through this and maybe she can go further because I feel like, very strong competitor out there. I feel like she's one of the
Yeah,
saving great. She is like the biggest saving grace of that tribe.
yeah,
Um, I
yeah,
have a soft spot for vets.
yeah. My preseason of her is accurate, but like wrong in a way because I said that I think that she got screwed by being put on this tribe, but I
Yeah.
thought it was because the crazy people were gonna be just targeting her because she's like the most sane of of everyone. But now it's just like, well, you're just not gonna have like an
Yeah.
alliance moving forward into the game besides Caleb.
Agreed. Agreed. And then yeah, I would say also, Katura. I think Katura, like we said, playing a very solid game. I think, very likable, and I think she has probably one of the better paths to the end. If we're basing it off of the first episode, I would say possibly Drew. I think Katura has a very strong chance. And then Austin
Yeah,
will probably be like number three, but I feel like that number three spot could be like anyone in the sense of like, well, it's still early, but
yeah.
I feel like Austin has a pretty strong chance. I could even say Sabia if we were talking about this underdog thing. Um, yeah, I would say
Nice.
those four. I think could be potential big winners, or could be potential winners.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I'm not even fully sure on winners yet. Uh, you know what? I think that winner quote from Emily Flippin, I'm putting her as my winner.
You cheese balls.
No, no. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Drew did give me a lot of things that made me go, okay, this guy could do it. I like the fact that he told his two different personalities of Drew is, kind of moody, kind of introspective, and writes poetry, and then Basile is outgoing, put your arm around your shoulder.
Yeah,
Like he can do both of those things, which essentially appeals to both introverts and extroverts, which is everyone falls into one of those categories.
we are called ambiverts or
Ambiverts.
omniverts because I'm also an ambivert slash omnivert. It's mostly like because when I took the what is it, Breyer personality test,
Oh,
it was a 49-51 split
oh
between
wow.
the two. And basically, essentially, that's a 50-50 split because, like, for the thing to work, it has to be one or the other.
Yeah.
So yeah. Um, yeah, I think that's kind of like just the thing with it going for, sorry, roommate.
Okay.
maybe lose my mind, or not lose my mind. Lose my train of thought is what I meant to say. Um, yeah, it's gone. But no, I feel like no, I think definitely in the Red Tribe, he was getting like the most content, and then obviously Austin was also getting some, and Sifu.
Mhm.
Um, the rest is yet to be revealed, but we'll see how. I mean, there's only so much screen time, and it for granted, I watched this on demand or on Paramount Plus, the next day because right now, guys, I'm doing Halloween Horror Nights, so and I don't want to watch Survivor on my break because I want to be able to like focus, watch it, and enjoy it, not worry about, oh, do I need to be on set? Oh, do I have to do this? Um, yeah, but I was watching it and like even though it's like an hour, 30 minutes, like lengthwise still could be like an hour and some change.
Yeah.
Um, so like it did feel short to me in that regard, but I think
Yeah.
that also like the pacing of it moved pretty fast.
Yeah, well, we gotta also remember a lot of the new era premieres have actually been 2 hours. So it
Yeah.
actually kind of feels like we didn't get enough because they made all these episodes 90 minutes. So for this specific episode, it does feel like we maybe lost out on a little extra time. Whereas moving forward, it should feel like we're gaining more time.
No, I agree.
So yeah. Uh but yeah, I don't know. I watched it also on Paramount Plus. I didn't watch it live. So actually I watched a little bit of it live and then I ended up having to go off and do stuff.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, let's do confessional accounts here. I mean we talked about them a little bit already. There's a lot of confessionals to go for this time. Uh let's just quickly start. Hannah, who does go home, got 4 confessionals. So that's how many she got. Can you guess who had the most confessionals?
I'm guessing Emily,
No,
Brandon,
no,
Drew.
no,
I'm just gonna list more and more people. Katura,
no,
Sifu.
no,
Fuck. Jake.
no.
I'm sorry, my roommate, he's watching something crazy, and so that's throwing me off too. Sabia.
It is Sabia.
Very nice.
Yep,
Okay.
yep,
Took me like 8
se-
tries.
7 confessionals. The only person with 7 confessionals on this first episode here. Then we got a couple people here from the Lulu tribe who are tied in second. Brandon and Emily each have 6 confessionals.
Okay.
And then Jake has 5 confessionals. And then we have a bit of a tie here with Katora, Kelly, and Kendra all having 4 confessionals. So
The,
equal distribution there.
the September babies, they all have the same amount.
Exactly. That would be hilarious if that happened the entire season. They get to the final 3 together, all with the same confessionals, and they all got the same confessionals each episode.
Would be brilliant.
Yeah. And then Caleb has 3 confessionals, and Sifu has 3 confessionals, Brando has 3 confessionals, and Bruce has 3 confessionals. And then here are all the people with 2. We got Austin with 2, D with 2, Drew with 2, and Sean with 2.
All right. So who's joining Jay for the least amount?
It's Joy. Yep, J Maya and Joy at the bottom right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's all a ruse. The map theory is gone. This is all, you know, Survivor has been listening and now they're going to be totally blindsiding everyone. Um, I'm totally believing what I'm saying right now.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah,
But I
just
think she'll make, if she's with Drew, I think she's going to make it far.
uh,
Because even though it feels like even though it's like I'm actually surprised that Drew's confessional count was that low. It could
yeah,
also be because the Reba tribe wasn't you know I think the only drama they really had or anything that was like strategic was, oh, Sifu was going off doing shit.
yeah,
Um,
Yeah. The red tribe was the quiet tribe, which does make me wonder a lot of win equity over here. I mean, it's the very much like yellow was the most shown, but I think it's just because they want to show the chaos, and maybe there's a lot
Yeah.
of the people who are going out pre-merge and they want to get the entertainment value while they can.
Yeah.
And then the blue tribe is shown as kind of is just like Libra's,
Yeah.
like it's balanced, like it's pretty balanced in terms of it. So yeah, just a fun little thing there to keep track of. We already kind of talked about MVP, but yeah, I mean, I'm giving MVP to Katora,
Same.
and I'm
Same.
assuming we're both giving Hannah LVP for quitting the game.
I think I'm just gonna give both Hannah and Brandon. I will say that it's just like Hannah was just more like impartial to it, but I think Brandon I'm also gonna give LVP to.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a close second. I think if Hannah didn't quit and she just got voted off normally, I wouldn't. I would give it to
Yeah.
Brandon. But the fact that you quit this early, I think just I like if I have to choose between one or the other, I'm gonna choose the one who quits.
Yeah, that's fair. Um, yeah. I
Okay.
guess like Hannah's been just being roasted the past couple days, so a
Yeah.
little but I mean, I think she kind of knew coming out of this because like the power of the internet, you know, or I wouldn't say the power, the toxicity of the internet. Like, to go out of your way to just message someone to be like, oh, you freaking suck because you took a spot and stuff like that. It's like, even if, I mean,
Yeah.
like, yeah, but at the same time, it's like, there's no need to be a bully.
Yeah.
Um,
Definitely don't go out there and hate message people, everyone. That's not okay. Even if
Especially a random stranger.
yeah,
It's like,
like it's okay to not like what happens, but don't bring that into their sphere. Like
yeah,
just be respectful, everyone.
yeah. Um, like, yeah, I'm shit talking about like Emily a lot on here, but I'm not
Mhm.
gonna, if I see her at like a Bryson Wen present and stuff, I'm not gonna be like, you freaking suck, throw my
Yeah,
beer at her or anything like that. I'm like,
yeah,
no, I'll be like, I don't know how I'm gonna, it depends on, because the finale one is in Los Angeles, and I feel like if it's anything like the 44 one that was out in like New York, a lot of the returning or a lot of the cast is gonna be there.
mhm,
Um, from 45, but we'll see. You also
yeah,
you're not guaranteed to see everyone while you're there too,
yeah,
but we'll see.
yeah. Exactly,
I
exactly.
have time to think.
Yeah. Create that message very, take your time, really sit with it, write it down in a document, prepare it.
I overthink everything and I have imaginary conversations in my head and like how to do it anyway. So
uh,
I'll prepare something. I mean, like she knows what the perception of her is going to be. I think if
yeah.
you're someone that's like, I mean, she is aware of like what she's doing, but whether or not she faces the consequences, especially after what you told me of like, oh, they kind of find her endearing. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see how this season goes off. I had kind of low expectations, and I think it's is like slightly above in a way, but like that ending kind of almost made me go like, oh, maybe it
I mean,
reaffirms.
it was a bit of a damper,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's like there's not much they can do. They can only tell the story.
Yeah.
Jeff was even like looking a bit upset
Yeah.
at the whole thing too. And then
Yeah. Yeah, I wish that we got old school sassy Jeff though. He would have
yeah,
I think he needed to kind of make an example of this whole thing, and like like say, yeah, guess what? A lot of people aren't cut out to do this, okay? If you don't like every episode now, he's trying to get everyone to apply. But
yeah,
it should have a little more like only apply if you think you can do this. Like don't just do it because someone tells you
yeah.
to.
No, no. I think one more thing we should talk about. We touched on it a little bit, but the Sweat and Savvy twist,
Yeah,
which was always like a thing where this is the first time a tribe didn't do it, let alone two tribes, or like weren't able to. And I feel like the competition and stuff, I think it was a great little twist to have on it because it was like, oh, we always thought we had a choice. Haha, now you don't. And now you
yeah.
have to do both.
Yeah, I think this was an improvement on Sweats and Savvy, like just outright. I think making it a competition just gives
Yeah,
it more stakes. Um, and the fact that you kind of have to be able to do both, you don't get to just choose your preference.
yeah,
Definitely was good. Uh, yeah, I no, I mean, I think there's things you could tweak with this. I kind of want it to be almost tournament style. Like if you were to do this in a tournament, um, how you would decide a winner, because I do want there to be a winner, honestly, and not
yeah,
just both people lose, is whoever gets to the savvy section first and the time runs out and no one's done it, you would give it to whoever got to that section first as
yeah,
the winner. So in this case, Lulu would have been able to get their stuff. But like that would be my little like way to just make it a little better, but it's still better than what it was in previous seasons.
yeah. Um, Yeah, and I felt when that happened, I was like, "Ooh, this is kind of cool," because, like, you know me, I enjoy watching some of the challenges and stuff like that on Survivor. They're fun to watch, like they're playing the games and whatnot. So yeah, I also liked how it brought that element to it as well. Combine and yeah, the combination of both was cool. So yeah. All right, I believe that is everything.
Yeah, I believe so. I think we've covered everything. I think we're both ready for the next episode already.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Um, Especially since we're doing this like 2 days, the day after of it, we are recording.
yeah,
Just based on like how schedules worked and everything. But yeah, um, I'm excited to see where this goes. At the very least, I think some people are like, "Oh, this is the worst start ever." I'm like, no, it was entertaining as can be. It's
yeah,
just like the worst start ever for a single tribe.
yeah. A single tribe, probably one of the worst tribal councils just to start off a season. Like
Yeah,
like like you want to get hyped for your season, and this was not a way to hype up.
yeah.
um
But
it's
it's like, what
all
can you do? This is what happened, and there's only so much you can do to frame the story, you know?
exactly, yeah, it's not like last season where Brandon gets an idol play in the first tribal to kind of set
Yeah,
the tone of the season. Like this is the tone setting is essentially a quit.
yeah. And like even Brandon, because and Brandon's not this Brandon, but last one.
Yeah.
So many Brandons.
Yeah, the NFL player.
NFL Brandon was even then, what also made that interesting was the shot in the darks being played and how that was also strategically used in the sense of like,
Yeah,
oh, especially for first, now you have that fluidity of like where your vote actually lies, things like that. Um, and then, like, well, actually three people, we cannot forget like some person just based because what their advantage was like, oh yeah, withholding your vote, things like that in order to activate it.
yeah. It
Um,
was a crazy way to begin a season, and I think
yeah, but like this one, we didn't get we didn't get the vote, so like we didn't get to see really the strategy of it. It was more
yeah,
like she pulled like the you can either quit or be fired kind of like thing. It's like you can
yeah,
either vote me off, fire me, or I'll just quit. It's one or the
yeah,
other.
yeah, yeah. And she I mean, she's even just saying it is a quiz. I mean,
Yeah,
it is like she basically gave them the choice of you can either go back to camp with 5 people or 4.
yeah. And I mean, like, no, I think in the sense of like, because I am a person about teamwork and stuff like that. Um, and like, to like quit even when they're on a mat, already a person down and whatnot is already like, like I would feel bad in the sense of like, oh man, like in the sense of like leaving my team when you know they're already hurting. But even though they're hurting already. So like
Yeah,
in the grand scheme of things, her quitting helped out the tribe because well, I mean, like I mean, this helped out in the sense of like, all right, yeah, what you said. It's 5 instead of 4. And as well as like, I don't think Hannah would have been good for morale. Brandon, who knows? Maybe next episode he starts to pull that David Wright and maybe build that confidence back up.
yeah. I think him not being able to talk to Hannah about how terrible this is, like in a that kind of almost negative aspect, might actually be benefiting him because sometimes when you're talking to someone like that, you kind of just get into this mindset. But once you get kind of moved from that, you can try to maybe talk to the other players who are trying to have at least a little more of a positive outlook on the game.
Negativity is contagious.
Yeah. Yeah, but also sucks for Brandon because clearly he's the only person that he's really been talking to is Hannah, who leaves the game. So
I mean,
uh
if they go to tribal again, I don't think. Well, if they go to tribal again, I don't think they keep Brandon. Lieu of
no,
him, finding an idol, or like I don't know how. That's like another big mystery when it comes to this, and I'm pretty sure I think it's partially editing, partially I think like you don't know how many steps to find the idol you actually need to do, or like how complex is it? Like,
yeah,
oh, do you have to do this, then dig, and then oh, you have to find it during a challenge,
yeah,
something like that.
yeah. I don't
We'll
know. I
see.
mean, I just think he's gonna play a shot in the dark. So I think he has a 1 in 6 chance of staying
We'll
next
see,
week, but that's about it.
man. We'll see.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that does it for this episode. We will see you all next week for episode 2. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
All right, peace out. Once again, happy birthday, Joe.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know, he is Joe Amazing. Joey Amazing is someone else, but we got Joe Amazing.
Yep, yep. Totally not trademarked, I
Nope.
bet.
I mean, hop on it right now.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
All right.
Okay, okay. Well,
Peace out, guys.